and I would really hope that anyone that is running for the Liberal Party of Canada or any party in the next election listens to these next words.
The end of Trudeau. Welcome back to Moose and Lose. My name's David. Today we have the end of Justin Trudeau. I can't believe I'm saying it. This should be a national holiday. With that, we've got footage coming from Chris Stacey of Justin Trudeau coming out of his office for the final time and getting heckled beyond belief. Also in the news today, we have Justin Trudeau meeting with alleged Chinese money launderers. I'm not making this up. Not one, but two casino kingpin alleged money launderers met with Justin Trudeau in his first year and a half as Prime Minister. Let's jump into this. We've got this one. Mark Carney has officially offered Chrystia Freeland the role of Transport Minister. I wonder what Anita Nand is going to get. Not like it really matters, but this is all for show. We've got this one too. Mark Carney has appointed Omar Al-Agrabra as Minister of Foreign Affairs. So this is the same guy who just announced yesterday that $84 million is getting sent over to Syrian terror lords, to Al-Qaeda. This dingbat right here. This government is so corrupt. It's unbelievable. Got this one from Kirk. It says, holy, did you know that Canada's bad times crime per capita is over 3.5 times of that of the US? Look at this. 1,427 per 100,000 Canada, 380 per 100,000 in America. I'm not surprised. I mean, this is what the Liberals have delivered us. All of their extra spending. What you're about to see here is a beautiful thing. We're seeing the final exit of Justin Trudeau leaving his office with tons of people there to wish him well.
Go take Trudeau! Go take the walk in the snow! Come on! No, 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 no! That's Trudeau leaving for the last time as PM.
He's getting ripped apart here.
Here he goes. Here he goes. Trudeau rolling out. Rolling out. Get the heck. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
Look at this right here.
There we go. Tyrant of the cottage.
These cops are out of control. They don't give a crap about people.
Good riddance.
There you have it, folks. The end of Justin Trudeau. Captain Schmuck, one last cheeky smile for the camera. You won't be missed. You're a disgrace, Trudeau. He was getting heckled pretty hard from this side here. Look at this guy, so arrogant. Narcissist has to wave to these people, flipping him off and cursing at him. That's Justin Trudeau. The end of Trudeau. The van will come and pick up your ego later. We should make this a federal holiday. Is that a Chevrolet? Suburbans are manufactured in Texas. Better boycott those too, right, Trudeau? We got this bombshell article here dropping from the Globe and Mail saying Trudeau met with Paul King-Jin in his first term as Prime Minister. Now, who is this guy? Paul King-Jin? Well, he's an alleged money launderer. He's a dirty dog. So this article is quite long. I'm just going to go through a few of these blips. First, I'm just going to summarize what this article is about. So between 2015 and 2017, Justin Trudeau met with this guy and another guy. These are alleged money launderers. Paul King-Jin, a central figure in British Columbia's money laundering inquiry. He met with him in a hotel conference room between 2015 and 17. A businessman with a history of money laundering. He was under investigation by the RCMP, self-proclaimed loan shark, involved in high-stakes gambling, underground banking, handling millions in suspicious cash transactions. His alleged activities, including money laundering through the Silver International, a business identified as a clearinghouse for proceeds of crime. A police investigation linked Jin to large sums of illicit cash. Criminal charges against him were stayed and subsequent prosecution efforts were abandoned due to insufficient evidence. So it's very hard to charge people for money laundering because you have to essentially prove where the money came from and that it's dirty. So the details of his meeting are unclear. They don't know what they talked about or who else was there. There's also another guy, Rongjiang Tiger Yuan. That's his name. We've got a photo of him here. This guy right here. Trudeau sitting with the guy right there, and here's another photo of the guy. We'll just call him by his nickname Tiger. So Tiger is a Chinese army veteran with ties to the Chinese government. So Trudeau met with this guy too. They don't know why. And it turns out it wasn't just Trudeau who met with Paul King-Jin. There's other parliamentarians. We'll get to this. So that's the basic sum of this story. Trudeau met with these guys. What did they talk about? So we jump back to our Globe and Mail article here. It says early in his time as Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau met with Paul King-Jin, a British Columbian businessman that would go on to become a central figure in this money laundering case. So Mr. Trudeau met with him, who was among about a dozen people in a conference room at the Executive Inn Express Richmond, a now closed hotel near the Vancouver airport, one of the sources said. Evidence of the meeting emerged amid the RCMP's year-long efforts to investigate Mr. Jin for money laundering. He was a target of 2 police probes, one of them launched in 2015, the second in 2017, which was among the biggest of its kind in modern Canadian history. It is not known precisely when the meeting took place, but it was during the year-and-a-half period after Mr. Trudeau took office in November of 2015 and early 2017, the sources said. Alongside Mr. Jin, who moved to Canada from China in 1989, was Yongsheng Tiger Yuan, a Chinese army veteran, one source has said. Mr. Yuan has close ties to the Chinese government and has been photographed at social events with Chinese diplomats. Goes on to say it's not clear if the Prime Minister could have expected to know about Mr. Jin prior to their meeting. Public records of serious money laundering allegations against Mr. Jin did not emerge until the fall of 2017. Yeah, I think Trudeau, he just met up with a random guy. He didn't know he was into money laundering, right? Of course. Trudeau likes just hanging out with random people, doesn't he? When asked about the meeting with Mr. Jin, the Prime Minister's office said Mr. Trudeau has met with many people across the country. The Prime Minister and his office had no relationship or dealings with this individual. Oh, really? He's just going to have a beer with a random guy? Is that what it was? Mr. Trudeau is not the only politician who has met with Mr. Jin. In 2019, get this, then BC Tourism Minister Lisa Bearer took part in a press conference at Mr. Jin's gym. So this guy, Mr. Jin here, he has a boxing gym. You can see here his multiple kind of workout photos and stuff. So she met with him, and who is this person? It's this lady here, MLA Honorable Lisa Bear. BC NDP. Are we making some connections here? Does it seem a little suspicious considering David Eby, his advisor, has direct connections to the United Front CCP? Getting another connection here. A little suspicious, isn't it? Miss Bear later said she was unaware of this association with the business. Mr. Jin has also been photographed meeting with Liberal MP Joe Peschilidillo, including in 2018. He declined to respond to this, so this is this guy here. He's no longer an MP. A Liberal and a BC NDP. So it goes on to say here, Jin was arrested in early 2016 for laundering proceeds of crime and other offenses, but those charges were stayed in 2018. No further charges have been filed against him. Despite having no convictions for money laundering, Mr. Jin has become one of the primary persons of interest in British Columbia's effort to crack down on the illicit flow of funds. Province's 2022 public inquiry into money laundering raised questions about Mr. Jin's role in providing suspicious cash to high-stakes gamblers in the Lower Mainland casinos. Mr. Jin described himself in a 2016 police interview as a loan shark and boasted of his high-level connections in China. So it goes on to talk about here how he got pew-pewed at a Richmond restaurant, and it says the reason for the meeting is unclear. One of the people who attended made 3 federal political donations totaling $4,299 in 2016. It talks about more of the whole situation here with the money laundering and the casinos. It says ledgers at Silver International showed $83 million in debts and $81 million credits just over 137 days in 2015. Police arrested Mr. Jin carrying bags and suitcases from Silver International. Police say he subsequently delivered smaller bags to local casinos where their recipients made larger cash buy-ins, in one case of $99,900. A police search found more than $4 million in $20 and $100 bills in a safe at one property associated with Mr. Jin. The cash was bundled together with rubber bands. Yeah, that doesn't sound suspicious at all. That's definitely not money laundering, is it? So it goes on to talk about the Supreme Court, and they just didn't have enough evidence. Nonetheless, Mr. Jin was never criminally tried over the allegations. In 2023, a special prosecutor named by the BC government declined to lay any of the 8 recommended charges against Mr. Jin, saying that while the accumulated evidence paints a highly suspicious portrait, suspicion alone is not sufficient to prove a predicate offense beyond reasonable doubt. In an earlier recommendation, BC Crown Counsel said prosecuting Mr. Jin might be possible possible, but the likelihood of the conviction was not great, and the public interest did not support the time or expense required to bring the case forward. At the end here, it says the failure to criminally prosecute Mr. Jin had another effect. It kept the police documentation about his meeting with Mr. Trudeau away from disclosure required in a court case. Peter Kerman, a former RCMP deputy commissioner who left the force in 2012, said the propriety of Mr. Trudeau's meeting with Mr. Jin depends on the context. What Trudeau knew is really critical here, and what his people told him and what the purpose of the meeting was, he said. This is absolutely scathing. So we've got Tiger Guy here, and you can see this is on the Bureau Sam Cooper's website here. Vancouver police returning $5,000 donation linked to a high-rolling People's Liberation Army hero, and community group with leaders targeted RCMP investigation cited for millions in suspicious cash transfers in British Columbia's money laundering inquiry, and has financial ties to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau via 2016 Liberal Party fundraiser in Vancouver that reportedly flooded $67,500 to Trudeau's personal riding association in Montreal. We got Paul King Jin here, also alleged money laundering, all ties to Justin Trudeau's secret meetings. Like, come on. What do we even say anymore to this stuff? The guy's right here. What do we say? Moving over here to Scott Moe, we've got two clips. He absolutely blasts Mark Carney. Mark Carney has planned a trip to the European Union when we have tariffs coming from America and from China. And the ones from China are affecting Scott Moe because of the 100% canola tariff.
Can you elaborate on what you said yesterday? You said in the next, if the Chinese tariffs go through in a week, that it would decimate the canola industry in Saskatchewan. Can you elaborate on that statement?
It'll close crushing plants. I can't be more clear. And the people that will be working in those plants will not have a job for a period of time. More impactful than that. And I would really hope that anyone that is running for the Liberal Party of Canada or any party in the next election listens to these next words. More impactful than a temporary loss of jobs in the canola crush industry is the markets that we are losing. The markets that we are losing are going to be they were incredibly hard to build in the first place, and they're going to be incredibly hard to regain. And so I don't know that those jobs will immediately come back. This is the reason that I ask Prime Minister-designate Carney to reach out, make his first engagement with the government of China to find a way through these very, very disastrous counter tariffs that have been implemented that are going to have an impact on Western Canadian families.
This Liberal government has absolutely screwed Canada. There's going to be so much damage endured by the time we get an election. The second clip here is where he blasts Carney for going to Europe instead of dealing with China.
I noticed this morning already that his first planned international visit is to the European Union. Not good. Not good. We don't have a trade war with the European Union today. We are in the midst of a trade war with the United States of America and China, the two largest economies in the world and our two largest export markets and trading partners. To choose to go to the European Union is beyond what I could understand as being in any way impactful or representing Canadians. And so I would ask Mr. Carney to reconsider that, engage immediately with the Chinese government, continue and engage and lay his plan out with respect to how he is going to engage with the United States of America. And I would suggest that plan should not include anything in the way of export tariffs, because that is very much one of the threats that has been identified by Saskatchewan industry as being one of the 5 tariff-related threats that are going to end jobs for a period of time in this country, and ultimately are not in any way finding our way towards that North American energy and food security goal that Saskatchewan really plays a part in.
Scott Moe calling out Mark Carney here for making stupid decisions. I mean, what did he learn from Justin Trudeau? Do Canadians understand what just happened in Canada? There was a legit silent coup in Canada. Unelected foreign entity in the form of the WF central banker was just handed the PM position. He doesn't work for Canadians. He works for the WF globalists and the CCP. Moe is right. What reason would trip to Europe be more important than domestic issues? Better be a good reason. Yeah, he probably wants to go on vacation on our dime. Jump in the big private gas-guzzling jet. Got this one from Marty up north saying just released by the Parliamentary Budget Officer. This is an impact assessment of oil and gas caps emission. The PBO estimates that required reduction in upstream oil and gas sector production levels will lower the GDP, it says here, by 0.93% in 2032 and reduce nominal GDP by $20.5 billion. So he posted a bunch of graphs here too. This is CO2 emissions per capita, and you can see Canada, America here basically tied, and China is quickly catching up to everyone. This is annual CO2 global global is right here, the world. You can see China, this is per country. And where's Canada? Down here. That's why I keep saying, like, we're not doing anything. These carbon taxes, all this stuff, it's been a scam. Like, we're not affecting anything. So China is the one who needs to step up if this is really the push. And do they even have the science to back it? We need to be pushing heavy on all this carbon capture and all these other things. There's some circumstances where, yeah, we should be cleaning it up. Changing over certain heavy industries to cleaner burning stuff like LNG makes sense. But the demonizing that the Liberals have been doing, it's all nonsense. It's just a scam to screw us over. Got this one here. It's from a group called Eco Justice. It's an open letter to Mark Carney. When our neighbors backslide, we do better and future-proof our economy. So we've got a group of people here. I'll show you organizations, a whole list of them here. These are all eco-climate zealot organizations across Canada. You got like the Suzuki Foundation. Some of these ones I recognize from the video I did previous, which showed NGOs in America are funding our climate zealot groups in Canada to cause more ruckus and stir things up here. A lot of these groups are well funded because they come from deep pockets in America like George Soros. And these groups have come together and signed this letter. Dear Prime Minister, designate Carney. We undersigned climate concerned organization individuals. Congratulate blah, blah, blah. At this important time, food prices are skyrocketing. Home insurance premiums are surging. You know why that is? Because there's so many home invasions. It's not climate change. Climate change doesn't change home insurance premiums. Same thing with car insurance. It's not climate change. It's the gangsters and goons that the Liberals brought in. So it goes on to name all these things. Financial losses, extreme weather events have hit record-breaking levels. Climate destabilization funded by our very own public-private financial institutions, not to mention fossil fuel-driven profit, blah, blah, blah. 25 billion economic growth due to climate change. They blame everything on climate change here, and they want Mark Carney to future-proof Canada. This is ridiculous and embarrassing, guys. The problems in Canada have come from the Liberal government, and this bootlicking letter is just disgusting. And at the bottom of this here, I showed you all these organizations on here, but there's also individual signatures here. For anyone interested, we got this one from Table Salt. It says residents of Campobello Island, Canada, who cannot access Canada by land are being charged 25% tariffs. So I noticed this. Anyone who goes through America now are getting charged 25% tariffs. It's just sick. Like, this whole situation sucks. So here's the island here, and this is Canada up here. You can see the border. So they have to drive through here to get back, but now they get tariffed every time they drive back and forth. It's the exact same thing with Point Roberts here. So this is American territory here. And if you've ever driven through here, you'll notice it because the second you drive over here, if I switch it, you can see how densely populated it is here in Canada. And America, everyone here's got big acreages and the land value is like 1/3 the cost of anything up around here in Tsawwassen. So same thing. This is America, this is all Canada, so they have to go through. Enough is enough with all this stuff. Both our economies getting decimated for no good reason. Our government is so corrupt, they just keep perpetuating this because they want to have Orange Man bad as something they can point and direct to keep in power. Our politicians are corrupt. Next up, we've got a video talking about doctors being aggravated by writing sick notes.
A minor contagious illness lasting a few days. Doctors don't want to write sick notes for that, excusing people from work or school. They're calling for them to be eliminated.
Come on, people. These are grown-ups, and if they have a cold and they are spewing germs and they're making a good call to stay home from work, they don't need to bring those germs into my office to get a note so that you can feel better about them not coming to work.
100% agree. Doctor's notes for being sick needs to go. Doctors don't need every single sick person coming in to get a letter, putting them at risk and wasting their time.
Canadian Medical Association estimates doctors wrote 12.5 million sick notes last year. An estimated 6.5 million Canadians don't have access to primary care, and doctors say critically examining the amount of paperwork could be one small step to curing the healthcare crisis. Some provinces are making moves to curb sick notes. In Nova Scotia, employers can't demand them unless a person's been ill for more than 5 consecutive days. In Ontario and Quebec, 3 days. And that's not the only red tape keeping doctors from more patient time.
I mean, in an average week, I'm probably spending 4 to 8 hours doing paperwork, and that's between forms. So basically, forms that are disability forms, disability tax credit forms, Canada pension forms, lawyers' reports.
After putting in
That's all insane. What needs to happen is AI has to take over all of doctors' paperwork and cut out these sick notes. That'll really help our medical system. These are simple changes that should be done.
full day, you're up till 10 o'clock at night finishing paperwork. People are answering.
This healthcare researcher says electronic medical records are one thing, counterintuitively increasing the administrative burden, and they could be streamlined.
You know, you might get a PDF from a lab with lab results, but then you got to open it, click it, save it to the right patient. So, you know, there's all these additional steps. It's not automated.
Manitoba and Nova Scotia have struck task forces to reduce doctor red tape. Quebec has passed legislation to reduce it, and many doctors say it's just a start.
There we have it, the end of Justin Trudeau. Mark Carney will be taking over for him today. It doesn't really give us that much reprieve. Mark Carney is arguably worse, but we are getting rid of Captain Schmuck, so that is something to be happy about. But considering we're already finding all these dirty ties of Mark Carney to the Clinton Foundation and funding from George Soros and money being sent over to the Eurasia Group, $6 billion in taxes not being paid for Brookfield in the Bahamas, and we've traded one dirtbag for another. It's time for an election.